Hello, Pod Posse. Here's your host. It's Lindsay Wilson from Design Time from the floor up. This podcast is going to be probably the best because I get to introduce my friend and fellow designer, Jamie Meares. Hello, Jamie.
Hello, Lindsay.
So, I mean, we can't not start with the best part of our connection.
That we have
Which
the same
is-
last name?
Yes, we have the same last name. I actually never changed it to Meares.
Oh.
I mean, River and Daisy are Meares, but the third time around, it's such a pain in the ass with taxes and a business and nobody cares. Not to mention, I feel like when I do change my name, that's when I get divorced. So I'm trying not to get divorced and I'm just going to stay Lindsay Wilson.
I gotcha.
But anyway, Jamie was married to Bikes and now I'm married to Bikes. And so we are sister wives and totally fine with it.
And doing great.
Yeah, right? And I think it's something that girlfriends should experience, that there doesn't have to be a home wrecker ever, that sometimes things don't work out. I'm so grateful for Jamie because she gave me Bikes and we're a happy family. I call us this functional family, not dysfunctional family.
I agree. And I am equally happy about it. I get to keep Brian in my life and have Lindsay and River and Daisy. And as one of my favorite needlepoint pillows says, it is now not my circus, not my monkeys.
Oh, we are so going to cover all of that. And I get to have Tad and Vincent. Vincent is Jamie's baby, who is 2 years younger than River. They have the same birthday, March 11th, 2020 or 2022.
How is that
then,
for
you know
a
what
crazy world?
I know, like of all the 365 days that we could have had our children. But also, I was thinking about this, like Jamie's life partner, Tad, is this fantastic guy. What if he was a total dick? And I couldn't stand being around him. And we like talked about him and said bad things behind each other's backs. And we're so not like that.
No, that is not our situation. Everybody is a non-dick in the situation.
We just had Sunday dinner all together at Peggy's house in Raleigh. You are at Peggy's house at the beach right now.
I am.
So what are you doing on here? What do you do, Jamie? Tell us what your main focus is right now.
Well, right now, I am the founder of a retail company, Furbish Studio. I started that about 15 years ago. And Furbish makes home furnishings. We make pillows and tabletops, and we sell some fun rugs and artwork. And we are based out of Raleigh, North Carolina, but we sell all over the world. And that is my main focus, is on growing that company. And then I also dabble in some interior design and some social media management and branding and creative offering.
She's an influencer.
I do some of the influence.
I like how you said social media management. That's such a high-end way to put it, that you are an amazing influencer. I don't even have 1,000 followers, but you have like 10,000, for fuck's sake.
I have a few, but I've been doing it a very long time. I think that's
awesome.
Adapter of it.
And another thing that I am proud of to tell the Pod Posse is how successful Furbish is. For instance, you have these pillows that you were just talking about, these adorable needlepoint pillows that have all kinds of sayings that were just, featured on the Today Show. Jenna's like holding it. She was holding it like this. Oh, was that a nice segue? This is the pillow that you gave me. But aren't these awesome? I mean, it's like perfectly needlepoint. It's so innocent. And then it says, everyone's a dumb whore. Or,
I love it.
This is why we can't have nice things. Or, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. That's my fave. I've got to get that for Daisy. Remind me.
That is our best seller right now by far. We cannot keep it in stock because everything that Taylor Swift touches or is associated with is gold. So we love our Taylor pillows.
Yeah. So then how did you even when you were a little girl and I was dreaming of being a ballerina, were you dreaming of having this amazing e-commerce store that's been so successful?
I think I was dreaming of being a marine biologist when I was a little girl. I don't know why, but that sounded like the thing to
Aww.
be. Like I was really into a fish moment under the sea. I was a big fan of Little Mermaid. But
Aww.
I did not become a mermaid or a marine biologist. I started a blog, and that was not I graduated from Carolina in 2002, and I majored in creative writing, and I was not ready to write anything for money, so I took a job at an advertising agency. And I think that I was one of the first we were one of the first graduating classes that moved into the workplace with the internet at our desks. Prior to that, if you were bored at work, you went to the water cooler, you talked to your coworkers, or you wasted time some other way. But I had the internet at my desk. And so I had always been an early adapter of computers. I had one in my room when I was, 6, 7, 8, was always
Oh.
very computer savvy and into things like that. And so at my job, when I had free time, I was sort of cruising around on the internet, looking at gossip websites, and blogs were just sort of starting. Mostly they were mommy blogs, and there wasn't really
Totally.
monetize that. People weren't really making money from them. They were just using them as like diaries or journals, just a way to share. And so I started doing it, and that tracked because I was able to write. So I was using my creative writing. I've always been fairly creative, and I like doing home projects. I like cooking, and so the blog came a way for me to share what I was doing in sort of my newfound adult life with Brian Meares. And we were, we had bought a home. I was throwing nursery, baby showers for people. I was, shopping at Target and sharing what I found. So I was just putting all that up on the blog. And
Is that Suwanne?
that's by Suwanne. Yeah.
So that's the name of Jamie's blog, Suwanne.
I-
Like, how we say in the South, I declare.
Exactly.
Suwanne.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I started sharing there, and no one was listening. And then a few people started reading, and then a few more. And long story short, the blog got some real traction. I had a nice article in the New York Times about it. I had a lot of traffic, and it sort of blew up overnight. And from all that blog traffic, I started looking for a way to monetize it. I had a following. I built a following. The people wanted to know what I thought. So I thought, how can I turn this into a business? And this was back before you could do things like affiliate linking or have people pay to put ads on your blog. And so that's when I started Furbish, because I needed a real product to sell to people. So I started a little store where at the time, it's when we were really into design magazines and Pinterest, and a lot of people were just seeing like designer wallpaper for the first time or pink sofas. And so I thought, well, I'm going to make a world where you can go in and see all this stuff in person. All these beautiful things that we've been blogging about, I'm going to make them real. So I started Furbish, quit my job, and I started selling painted furniture, pillows that my mom made, things that we found at yard sales, just little stuff, and it worked. And that's where it started, and we've grown from there.
It's so good, Jamie. It's such a good story. It's such a good story to tell the pod posse who has these ideas and doesn't know how to compartmentalize having a creative side and a writing side, and also having a voice, because people listen to you. I mean, you guys, Jamie can say, this is what I'm thinking about. Here's this long skirt with these tennies. And people love that shit. And they come to your blog to see, what is Jamie thinking? What do you think that we should put together? How should we? Oh, and also another thing about you is Jamie has this maximalist style. She can make the craziest patterns, whether they're like green and pink or red and blue, completely work together. And she can like make this tablescape with coasters and plates and vintage glasses and a tablecloth or placemats or all different colored china pattern plates. And it's like fan-fucking-tastic.
Thank you.
I love how you do that. It's so good.
Thank you.
And so different from where my brain goes, because I am just very clean and not I'm like a minimalist.
Yeah.
And you are a maximalist.
Sounds about right. But you love color, and you are willing to experiment with color.
You were such a big help to me when we were doing our reno, because when we just had the, we shared dog custody, Jamie and I. We go back with Rowdy, who we've just lost in January, which has devastated our family, but we still have his 9-year-old brother, Major. So we always see each other with the dog custody. But Jamie was here helping me do measurements for the master bedroom and what are the rug sizes and what can we do and how can we do this. And it was when we just had the framing. And so as art imitates life, Jamie is also doing her own reno on her personal home. It's right down the street. Tell us about that. What's your favorite part and what's the part that you didn't even think was going to happen?
Well, it is funny. We undertook renovations at almost the exact same time.
I know, right?
You guys, luckily, I'm jealous you're getting back in much sooner than I am, but I should be there soon. I'm excited because this is a mid-century ranch house, and I grew up in a ranch, so I'm sort of nostalgic for that kind of house. I've been living in a 4-story house. It's kind of like a brownstone loft. And I was
so cool.
It's very cool, but I was pregnant there and I have PTSD from going up and down those steps. So,
you do?
Oh my gosh, it was terrible. I mean, I was huge and swollen, and the kitchen's on the main floor, the bedroom's on the 3rd floor. So you just were always.
What's on the 4th floor?
There's a workout studio office kind of thing. So I was up and down
all the way up there
all the time, and it was miserable. And now I log a 1-year-old up and down them, and I just am over it. So we immediately started looking for something all on one floor. So I'm excited about living in a ranch. I've never done a whole home renovation, even for a client. I'm more of like the icing on top of the cake kind of girl, like the sprinkles on the top. Cupcake. Yeah. I've never been a bake the cupcake, because it's just, I didn't have a lot of experience with it. I've never really done one. I didn't go to school for it. And, I'm sure you can relate, Lindsay. A lot of the stuff we do is trial and error, and it's just you go by gut and you have a knack for it. But renovating is more of a science that I didn't have a huge, not a lot of experience with. So this is the first time I've done it. And I've learned a lot.
And there's so much that goes in.
There's so much.
We just want to make it pretty. And people like Bikes and the builders and everybody, they are under construction constantly. And there's codes and permits, and I hate all that shit.
There's been a lot of that, and I've done it all. And I've learned a ton. And I do feel like now I could confidently do it for a client. I could, speak from experience and talk about what I've learned and help people. I was really interested this time in using everything that I have learned from my favorite hotels to my friends' homes to, Airbnbs to what works in a home and what is practical and beautiful. And I really tried to design this house to be functional, which I am a big fan of. I thought a lot about, where do hooks go? Where do cabinets go? Where do we need extra storage? What would make life easier? I'm very into hacking everyday routines and finding design ways to make them easier for the family and also look great. So I did a lot of that in this project, which was fun.
That's awesome. I noticed that you've got this amazing bathroom shower tile with colors that I would never put together, but totally work for the MCM vibe. Red, brown, and I think it's a green.
Mm-hmm. And a purple.
Oh my God. Where did you get that?
Honestly, there's a design team out of Charleston that I fangirl called Basic Projects. And they inspired that color palette. I saw them do something similar and I really liked it. And so I definitely made it my own. I didn't copy, but I was inspired by them. the tiles that we use are like these handmade tiles from Morocco, and they don't come in like crazy bright colors. They come in these subdued sort of earth tones, which is not my style at all. So I popped it up with some reds and some bright colors, but I found that my palette works better if I do want to do a crazy color. I have to pair it with a more toned down sort of drab color to keep the whole thing from feeling like a teenager's room. So I love using hot pink, but if I only used hot pink, it would look crazy. So I put hot pink with like olive green, and then it feels a little more sophisticated to me. So that's how I came up with the color combo. It's like it's browns and dark greens, but then it's a pop of blue or a pop of red, and that sort of makes it feel more festive and less like a teenage dream.
And aren't you doing that in Vincent's bathroom?
I did that in Vincent's bathroom, yeah.
You've got to send a picture to Brit so when she publishes this, we can see what the hell we're talking about, because it's so cool.
I was thinking there, we all have such like intense memories of spaces and rooms when we're children. And I thought that would be cool for him. He may not remember it exactly, but I think that it will give him an impression that probably sticks with him. Like he'll always remember that crazy bathroom he had. So
I love that.
I'm hoping he will.
What do you think flooring-wise? What are you doing flooring-wise in your new home?
Well, the entry of the home had the original broken slate tiles that are very like 1950s, the gray.
Totally. I love it. That was my grandmother's house.
Yeah, I loved it too. And so I loved it so much that we did the entire house except for the bedrooms. I had a tile guy came in, and he happened to be a tile artist.
Great idea.
I we'll call him an artist now, because he hand shattered these tiles came in 24-inch squares, and he broke each one and then hand laid the pattern, and it is all over the house, and it's beautiful, and I'm so excited.
Oh my God, Jamie, I can't wait to see this. I had no idea.
It's very cool.
And who else has no idea is everybody who's watching/listening to this, because we only think of hardwoods and tile and carpet and LVP.
Yep.
And now you have an artist tile smasher.
An artist tile smasher. And he did such a good job. And so it really, I leaned into the vibe of the home. The home sort of had a character that was screaming at me, and I just listened to it. So,
oh, I love that. We're like home whisperers.
Yes. It wanted to.
So what did you put in the bedrooms?
The bedrooms, I did wall-to-wall carpet. And I know that.
But I'm sure you jazzed it up with like a Berber or something.
It is the main bedroom is a cheetah print. That's pretty wild. And then the other two bedrooms are just going to be solid colors. I've never done a wall-to-wall. I take that back. I haven't done a lot of wall-to-wall carpet in bedrooms, but I do feel like it is a great space to do it. If you're gonna, want to make a luxe, sort of soft and cozy room, I think wall-to-wall in the bedrooms is a way to do it.
That is seriously sexy. Cheetah wall-to-wall carpet in the main bedroom? Wow.
We'll see. It is a risk. We'll see.
So then, speaking of risks, I did my ballsy blue hay.
Yes.
In the living room.
Yes.
The Design Time from the Flora podcast is sponsored by Florally, your premier source for designer-inspired floors. Use Florally's live chat with real human beings to answer your flooring questions and even book a free in-home consultation.
So I took my ballsy blue hay risk.
Yep.
What's your ballsy risk?
As you will remember, at the old house that I lived in with Brian on Wayland, I painted the living room bright ass red.
Bright.
That was a risk. That was like a super, super bright red, like a tomato.
Oh, totally. And you did that back in what year? 2003? So it's interesting that you say that, because I just put up an Instagram post where I go into homes that need to be marketable.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, hello, 2003 called and they want their red dining room back. Because guess what? It's 2023. That was 20 years ago when a red dining room was hot. I had a red dining room in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
With like the Pottery Barn floating shelves.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so cool.
Uh-huh.
But what's the ballsiest risk you've taken at this new house?
At this new house,
if you were going to tell me that you painted a red dining room in this new house, I would be like, what? Who are you?
I did not paint anything red. Ballsy risk. I'm painting all the trim, the color of the wall. which I love in theory, but have not done in my own practice. So if it's like a blue wall, I'm painting all the trim in the room blue as well. So blue door,
I
trim,
love
blue
that.
everything. That I hope it's not like a of the moment thing, but I've wanted to do it forever. It feels very fancy to me, so I'm trying.
Yeah.
I tried a very odd countertop in the kitchen. I wanted something wild and crazy. I couldn't find exactly what I wanted, so I went on a limb and I picked this wild granite that's got like a little bit of lime green in it, and it could be a colossal fail. It's been covered up since it was installed, so I haven't even really seen it. So I'm anxious to see how that turns out. I find
Oh, I love that. So wait a second. What is the lime green? What's the color of the kitchen?
the kitchen's white, and the countertop it's like a white gray stone, but it's got some like weird lime greenish accents in it, and it looked cool at the marble yard. But
Sounds
I'm
amazing.
like feeling unsettled about it, so we'll see. I don't know, maybe you can relate to this. I find it is very seldom that I can walk into a room and be like, oh my God, I nailed that. Like, that looks great. More
Yeah.
often
Oh,
than not,
God.
I walk into a room and I'm like, oh shit. Like, that
I know.
doesn't quite look how I thought it would. And I can fix it.
Well,
It's usually fixable, but I'm hoping to have more of those moments in this house because I was more thoughtful and deliberate. And I'm hoping to avoid the oh shit moments. I'm sure I'm going to have some, but I'm trying.
it's because we're recovering perfectionists and we take such pride because every home that we do, everything that we design and decorate, it's like a masterpiece.
Right.
And then when it gets to be your own house, you're like, fuck. But I'll tell you something. I talk about this blue Hague room and I really like it, but we had this neighbor come over last night. He's a guy that he walks his dog around the hood. And he came in and he goes, "This is so attractive. You really know what you're doing." And I was like, I almost turned around to see if he was talking to somebody else. I was like, wait, me? I do? Oh my God. Thank you.
Thanks.
And that's like so, validating because what the hell well, you know what you're doing too, but I just, but also, Jamie, as you know, I am partnering with a very particular persnickety perfectionist.
Yeah. So the stakes are higher for you because if you don't nail it, you'll never hear the end of it.
Oh my God. Like ever.
Yeah. Yeah. The stakes are very high.
So when it comes to you, I in my visual, like when I think about you and Tad sitting at home, I think about him like reading the paper and just saying, do whatever you want to do. I know it's going to be awesome. Yes, I approve of the lime green on the countertop.
He does approve. He does trust me, but that's only I had to earn the trust. So Tad grew up in Aspen, Colorado, and his mom moved the whole family out there in the 70s in the middle of nowhere to this huge log cabin. And the log cabin was essentially abandoned in the 90s. The whole family left and mom left, and they all like walked out like they were going to the grocery store and never came back. And
why?
Well, everybody had different things going on in life. And finally, the mom had to move to be with her father who was sick. And she just never got back out there. And so that
you should write about that.
It's kind of an amazing story. And when I showed up 8 years ago, this house was disgusting. Like, think orange shag carpet everywhere that was 30 years old. Bathrooms carpeted and like ivory carpet in the bathrooms, spider webs everywhere. I mean, it had just been in disrepair. Tad would come in and like throw a party there and then just leave. It was like a bachelor pad times a million. It was disgusting.
Hold on, is this your place in Aspen?
This is our place. Yeah.
Oh my God, Jamie, I did not know that it was always his.
Yeah, this is family house that he grew up in. And so over the last 5 years, we have redone it. And very tricky process to redo someone's family home where there were a lot of opinions, there were a lot of memories, there were a lot of cooks in the kitchen. And I think that I earned his trust doing that. Like I was careful and now it is fully restored to a beautiful home that's welcoming and we have guests and we love being out there. And I think that through that process, he enjoyed it and he was fun to do it with and he trusted me. He likes the shop, which is fun. I love having a partner who loves like the thrill of the shop. He likes the hunt and the buy.
I love that.
When he would get excited, we would go to the thrift store and find cool things. And he was very excitable. So I could kind of work with that. And then we bought.
Was he excited when you got that big ass leopard, ginormous, oversized,
he
long
was
sofa?
super stoked about the leopard sofa. He loves it. And he loves, he's very adventurous. And he has some experience too with renovations and lofts and stuff that I didn't. So when we bought our first condo, it was his idea to sort of tear down all the walls, paint the whole thing white, put in skylight. So he had good ideas. So I also learned to trust him. And he leaves the sort of decorating details to me and just shares his experience with things he's done. And I've come to trust him. And so it's a good partnership. He has thoughts on things and he tells me, and I've learned like, okay, well, why don't we see is what, like we have in the bedroom, the new bedroom, we have these huge floor to ceiling windows and I want to put a couch in front of him. He's like, absolutely not. We're not putting a couch there. So I was like, oh, we'll see, we'll see.
Uh-huh.
So I'll put it there.
We'll see. That's such a good answer.
Yeah. I will definitely put it there and then we'll see if it's terrible.
So
it's terrible. I'll move it.
It's so funny that you say this because speaking of ballsy risks, in the house that you lived in with bikes, you put, in the room that you painted red, you had grass cloth on the ceiling.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
And I thought that was awesome. And I loved the zebra wallpaper behind the bar. The problem is now that, like if I ever mentioned anything like that, he would be like, absolutely not. We're not doing that. Because now it's like he wants to like stand his ground.
Right.
I'm going to put my foot down,
Right.
Right. And I'm like, hey, so what are you doing in Wilmington right now and not in Raleigh with us?
I am in Wilmington because I'm working on a restaurant here. This is another first. I did the ground up build with the chef on a new restaurant. Not ground up. It's an old building. It's a building from the 1920s. That was an old grocery store in downtown Wilmington, but it was just a shell. So we have, under construction for about a year, and he's going to open in July. And so we're just putting the finishing touches on the restaurant.
What's the vibe in there? And also, can we say what the restaurant is?
Sure. Yeah, it's called Olivero, and Sonny Gerhardt is the chef, and he owns St. Rock that is in downtown Raleigh, which I helped with. And he is a friend, and he's super great to work with. And so I was happy to do the second restaurant with him. The vibe is Sonny is he's a funny guy. He's like very laid back, and he's got lots of tattoos, and he's got a funny mustache, and he's a fantastic cook. He's quite a character. So the space is going to be
like handlebars?
Not currently, but it could. It
has been.
Yeah. The restaurant it's a lot like St. Rock. It's dressed up, but it's still a little gritty. Sonny doesn't want anything too fancy. It just doesn't feel like him. He's not a fancy guy. So it's approachable. It's laid back, but it's got really cool tile, a lot like Vincent's bathroom. It's got a mosaic tile wall. It's got some fancy wallpaper and really cool light fixtures, but then we've got great artwork and cool.
Where did you get the artwork?
I'm doing several things. We're doing some framed family photos. He loves like an old Italian red sauce kind of vibe of family photos everywhere all over the wall. So we're doing a lot of framed family black and white photos. And then I've been collecting vintage plates that are nautical themed. And I'm going to have a tattoo artist draw tattoo art on the plates.
Oh my God, Jamie.
Was there
your ideas?
And we got a massive piece of art from an artist in Alabama named Butch Anthony, who does this really cool style of art. He takes old Renaissance paintings and then he paints skeletons on top of the paintings. So we have this huge 7-foot piece of art that is going to be like the centerpiece. So it's
oh my God, I love it.
Really cool artwork. He will splurge on art, which I love.
That is so cool. What comes first, the friend or the restaurant?
In this case, the restaurant came first, and he hired me to give the restaurant just an update and facelift, and I run his social media and do his branding. And I got to know him through that process, and we trust each other, and that's the second one.
But I mean, like, it just in my visual that I have to like create in my head, are you like sitting there eating oysters at the Rock and he comes up to you and says, "How is your dinner?" And you say, you could really use an update here? Or like, how did he even know that you were you and you did what you did?
Tad and Sunny were friends.
There it is.
Yeah, and Tad made the intro.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's been great. I'm very proud of their Instagram account. I do that, and I do their newsletters and anything that's vibey. Like, I just do their vibe.
So what do you think is the hardest part of being an influencer, doing Sunny stuff, having Furbish? Which is the hardest one?
The hardest one. It's hard being the influencer is hard because I'm not really interested in it anymore.
Really?
Yeah, it's just not, it doesn't like spark joy like it used to.
Maybe you've just said what you've needed to say and it's time to move on.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just feel like drawing in a little bit more, and I just haven't felt like I wanted to share everything as much in the last few years, so I definitely have pulled back on it. I'm also running other people's accounts, and when you're doing it for work, like, I just don't have the time. But I also
Jamie, we're mothers now, so we're also running the CEO of that business.
Exactly.
We're the CEOs of that business, and so not sharing so much. And also, I think that if you found the joy in being an influencer, you were excited to tell people what you thought because they were excited to see what you thought.
Right.
And now you're probably like, I don't really care what you think because I'm going to do it anyway.
There's a little bit of that. And I am. So it's, I feel like if you like what I do, there's other ways to consume that now, right? If you want to be influenced by me, like, go check out a restaurant that I did, or I guess that's the way I'm sort of putting it out in the world now. I don't have as much time and bandwidth.
Like a hands-on portfolio.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what about this? Do you think that it's beneficial to buy followers? Like for somebody like me who has like 930 followers, will people know if I've bought it? And isn't that like not authentic?
I could argue the case for either side. I think that followers beget more followers. So if someone goes to your account and you have 10,000, they're more likely to pay attention to you off the cuff because they probably think that you are more important, because that's how that world works, right?
Totally.
If you land on someone and you discover them, most people immediately check their followers, and that means something to us. We assign some value to the person according to how many followers they have. And if you land on someone and they have 100,000, you're more likely to dig a little deeper and see what they're about. But on the other hand, if you are doing it from a business standpoint, I think it's tricky because you could lose those followers at any moment. You never know when Instagram's going to do like a sweep of fake followers, or when something's going to change, or when you're going to get called out or caught, or, it could collapse at any moment. It's a house of cards. And so it does help in that I think that it can make a first impression. And then if real people stay because of it, then you did gain a new follower. If they don't, then it doesn't really matter because you're just got more robots looking at, you got fake people that aren't even real. They're not consuming your content. They're not your target audience. They're not going to bring value to your job. They're not going to buy anything from you. So it's tricky. I have never done it, but there are days sometimes that I wish that I had.
Really?
Yeah, I think that it could be a part of your strategy as a business. I know that a lot of bloggers do it. I know a lot of people do it. Famous people do it. Kardashians do it. I mean, everyone does it. So many people do it. And it's easy to see the people that are doing it. I can usually look at someone's account and in 10 seconds get an idea if they're buying followers or likes. You can tell. You can just see, like, there's lots of names that don't make sense. If you click on any of their followers, you'll see that they don't have any posts. Like, it's easy to spot followers.
Right. Right.
But I think that if you do it, there's a strategy to it. It's something like for every 100 followers, real followers you get, you buy like 20. You know, if you're every 1,000 followers you get, you buy 200. So it's a gradual build. And I think it could be useful. I hate that it's fake and not real, but it's a strategy that's out there and it could work for people for sure.
I think that's great advice. And whereas I will stand behind saying, at 48 and a mother of 2, I'm not trying to build an empire. I just want to do what I love. And if you do what you love, you don't work a day in your life. But I get paid really great for doing what I love and only having under 1,000 followers. But you're right. People could look at Lindsay the Stager and think, oh, she has 5,000 followers.
Right. If you're doing it for your business and not for your ego, I think it's worth considering.
I like that. If you're doing it for your business and not your ego, and everything is so egotistical. So that's important information.
Yeah, I think it's worth considering as a strategy for sure. That could work.
What else? What do you think about, you know how I said, what's the hardest? Furbish, Sunny, share, just kidding. Furbish, Sunny, or being an influencer. What about being a mom? Hardest thing ever.
It's a whole, it was such a cliche to me about what women, you know, talking about I do everything and the mental load I carry and I had no idea. And it's like everything went from like, it didn't go from black and white to Technicolor and went from like Technicolor to black and white overnight. Yeah. And I was like, holy shit, this is real. It's also completely fucked up and the patriarchy is stupid. And I never realized it. And white men should be in charge of nothing. I mean, like, you know.
And cut. Perfect. And that's what I had her here to say. You're welcome. You're welcome.
I mean, I sound very aggressive about it, but I just have never seen it play out personally. And I realize now what women are capable of and what they do. And not to say I have a good partner and you have a good partner too, and they both bring things to the table, but it is so underappreciated and undervalued and overlooked what women do and how important it is.
Yes.
And I will shout it from like the highest rooftop that like we literally could run the world, but we're too fucking busy doing everything else to even make time to take it away from the patriarchy because we're too tired because we do too much.
Right. And so look at this. Let's take 3 mothers. Your mother, Nancy Clark, my mother, Marjorie Wilson, and our shared mother, Peggy Meares. None of them had jobs when they were raising us.
Right.
None of them were trying to be an influencer or run somebody else's Instagram account or do their own renovation even.
Right.
I mean, maybe Peggy did back in the day, but whatever. Nobody had a business to run.
Right.
Like when I put my babies to bed, I got to check on all the other babies to make sure that the staging is ready for tomorrow, that Melvin has finished the countertops in time, that the quote is being looked at, that all the things are happening. And then somebody forgets their lunch on the way to school, you're fucked.
Right.
Because for me to get back to the school after I've dropped her off, to get her the lunch that is sitting on the counter, that the only reason why I know that is because Bikes called me on the way to carpool, I'm like, dude, you are not in my circle. I'm not going to be able to make it back 5 miles away from my house or 2 miles away from my house to get you your lunch. So I'm out.
Right. And it's the everyday when you're in the thick of it. And then it's also the like foreseeing, anticipating need and foreseeing what you have to do, like the planning that goes into being a parent. Like you have to, if you want them to do something, you know, you and I were talking about this. If you want them to do something for the summer, you have to start thinking about that months ahead.
In February,
if they outgrow their clothes, like you need to know, okay, I have to go through your whole drawer, especially now I have a toddler. I have to go through your whole drawer, see what fits, get rid of that, go donate that stuff, and then order you new stuff so you have something to wear. And it's like, I carry all of that all day long. Like, do we have food in the refrigerator? What are you going to eat? Who's going to take you where? Are you going to be an okay kid? Like all these things, am I doing all these like things that have to be planned and scheduled and managed, and it's a lot.
And then what really puts a wrench in the system, not just somebody forgetting their lunch, but what if the adults get sick? Ugh. Oh my God. Like when Mama got COVID, Bikes was fucked.
Yeah.
And he was like, we can't lose Mom.
Yeah.
Because because shit's not going to get done. There's not going to be any food to eat. There's not going to be lunches made. Nobody's going to know what needs to be bought.
Right.
I was just sick last weekend. I couldn't even go to the beach for Memorial Day. I was home by myself, sick as a dog. However, I actually enjoyed it because I was alone. And I didn't have any fingers up my butthole. It's going, ma.
I went to New York by myself last week for the whole week, and I lived my life.
Right?
I lived it. It was amazing.
That is so amazing. What was Tad taking care of Vincent?
Mm-hmm.
How did you even negotiate that?
I mean, I show up like 110% when I'm here. And we had this amazing life before Vincent was born, where we traveled and we were gone a lot.
Totally.
And we both like made a pact that we were going to try our best to keep it. And so we're trying. And sometimes that means we can't go together, but if we still want to do it, and so we have to find ways. And so he covers me and I cover him, and we have a nanny sometimes. And I'm just trying to like keep some sanity and like hang on to who I was before, because it's important to me to like get out of town and to
Totally.
It's important for me. I go to New York to get inspired, and if I can't get inspired, then I can't do my job.
I go to High Point to get inspired.
Well, there's a lot in High Point. It is like a Disneyland of inspiration.
Well, I like that you said that. I guess I never thought about it as a pact, but after I had like literally 5 days to myself, even though I was sick, I said to Bikes, you go and do all of the things that you complain about not getting to do at the beach. Go spearfishing. Put the boat in the water.
Yeah.
Ride your bike to Tower 7. Do all of that shit.
Yeah.
Of course, by the end of the 3 days that I've had the kids by myself and he gets home and I'm like on the roof with a machine gun ready for him. Do you know what I mean?
But I think it's you make a good point. Like just being able, if you can somehow work in your routine a couple of days to yourself, I think it is like restorative.
Totally.
It
like
lets
I'm a
you
whole new girl.
We are.
You know that.
And you can be like your old self, you don't have to lose it completely. Like you can remember what it's like.
Yeah. And I have lost it completely. I need to get it back. But you know what else is? Then there's the guilt for wanting to be away from your children. Like I looked at River the other day and I was like, what am I going to do without 3-year-old River? He is such a little stinking cutie. And
he is a super cutie. But sometimes I don't know if you have this, like when they're very little, like Vincent's 1, I'm just bored a lot, bored sometimes because they can't talk to you, right? And sometimes I'm just like, I got to get out of here for a little bit because you're really bored.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good.
And you know what else? And Britt's telling us that we have to wrap it up, but I just want to say another thing is like, when I was a single mom with Daisy for 6 years, I can't watch Peppa Pig one more time.
No.
We're going to fucking watch Sex and the City, goddammit, and you're not going to understand what it means right now. And sometimes you have to do that.
It's true. We watch a lot.
Now it's completely inappropriate when we watch Bridesmaids now, but that's another segment.
Oh, we watch RuPaul's Drag Race every day, and Vincent is like, what are these colors and these fabulous creatures? Like, this is amazing.
Yeah. Perfect. I love that. Who needs Peppa Pig when you have RuPaul?
And he does the same thing, right?
I know. Well, doesn't 45 minutes seems like it's just gone by like that?
I didn't ever think we would have a problem.
I know. It's over, though. We gotta say sayonara. I'm going to say thank you so much for being the greatest guest and coming on down this little rabbit hole of podcast perfectionistic, not perfection.
Well, I am always happy to talk to you.
Aw, thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Pod Posse, for watching and listening. This is Lindsay Wilson with Design Time from the Floor Up. Peace out.
Peace.
Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying this episode, please like, comment, or subscribe. If you don't like it, then off.